All right, we're back. Max Starks is here.
Did you put any weight on when you were in Ireland? No, come on.
No, I'm saying eating food everywhere but our lovely U.S. of A.
Yeah.
You lose weight.
You do.
Eating more food. I'm sorry. I hate to say it.
All the
time. Preservatives and everything else, they don't do. I ate cottage pie, Irish stew, beef and stout stew. I came back, I lost 2 pounds. I was in Europe for 2 weeks.
Wow.
And I did not skimp on the food category. You know what I'm saying? Like, I went, and especially in London, I mean, I had more free time than I did in Ireland.
Yeah.
And I specifically, it was like, Max, you got some work to do. I know, but it's in between meals. Like, I do work in between meals when I was in London. I had a lobster Wellington. I mean, I went to this West African, like, Michelin star rate, top 15 in the world place, and I got full on all kinds of crazy food, and I went to sushi's it's not heavy. I mean, I did a 12-course omakase, but I mean, but I also had like fish and chips. I went and had like a seafood paella in Borough Market. I mean, I was eating everything in Borough Market, by the way. There was donuts, there was a mushroom risotto.
I think we saw you on the news actually. This guy, this
empanadas,
just eating everything.
Yeah, he's just eating everything. Yeah, I had a Job of the Hut moment, but I came back 2 pounds lighter. So no harm, no foul.
Going for you.
I do have that. I mean, sure, I could have lost more weight if I would have been counting calories, but no need.
Who goes to England to count calories?
Yeah, no.
All right, Max, let's get into this. There were layers and layers to that brutal loss on Sunday, and we've gone through all the stuff that happened between the white lines.
I just want to apologize to Trey McBride also. That was ridiculous. I'm just saying,
You're
like,
talking about his three.
Yeah, the three called. I was like, really?
Every time
like,
he made
really?
a play,
every time he made an explosive play, it counted against him and nobody else. It's like, God,
and that has been a problem all season long. The penalties, once again, they're way up for the Cardinals.
And here's the thing: they're way up for the entire league, as I've noticed. Like penalty calling, like the points of emphasis this year are so much higher on PIs, on holding penalty. Like every game I've called this season, it has been always, this is uncharacteristic of what the norm of a team from a previous year. Everybody's up. I mean, I can't tell you, like, even in my Eagles-Broncos game, there were 20 accepted penalties.
But, okay, but to be fair, we're all going to these games to watch the referees throw a flag, right? That's
exactly. They're the main attraction. I don't know why they keep pulling these players in here in between our referee throwing. I mean, listen, I love a good medium stripe, vertical stripe shirt just as much as the next man.
Throwing a yellow flag 4 feet.
Exactly.
So
and sometimes it's like 40 yards. Like some of them want to show it off.
Luke had to go with sarcasm.
I did, because I'm sick of seeing flags everywhere.
Well, no, but they do interfere with the game. They take over the game, and it's like, dude, why are you? We have an extra sky ref now for this, right? Yeah. And also even with the Demercado play, like the one thing that I wish that was able to be reviewed was these type of plays where you get a player that's in a goal line or goal situation, touchdown situation. I wish the refs would just call it a touchdown, because guess what? When you call it a touchdown, every play gets reviewed.
Yeah.
As opposed to not calling it a touchdown, and then you have to waste a challenge or you have to do something else in the process. When in doubt, when it is gray, just make a decision to call it a touchdown and then let it get overturned so that we don't have to waste additional time. Yeah. And then there's an argument and there's a posturing that goes on. And then you can figure out, if you don't really know, err on the side of that.
Yeah.
I hate I've got to be perfect, and I'm just going to make this resolute play, and it could cost somebody a play. Because like you said, multiple angles probably would have shifted that towards a touchdown, right? There's a couple of them where because what's the rule? The nose of the football must break the plane.
And it looked like it did.
It does not have to break the entire white slot. It has to touch the white part of the line.
I just don't care about that. I really don't. Don't ever do it again, Amari. Well, that's what I would say.
I know, but what I'm saying is,
I can't even.
There is a bigger teaching tool for it. You're right.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, in those moments, and this was more so geared towards the referees and how they take over a game.
Yes.
I was like, I would rather them minimize their exposure in a game and let guys play within the confines of the rule. I get when there's a glaring penalty, yes, throw it. But when you get to those 50-50s, now it becomes a contest. How many times? I mean, because if you played as a drinking game at home, you would be sorely drunk week after week. You'd be
getting one of those hats that Max got.
Yeah, exactly. You would be winning one of these type of caps every week, because it's so inordinate the amount of penalties. Like I don't have the stats in front of me, but I would wonder who's the least penalized team this season on average, because that I don't think the number's as low as it was a year ago or 2 years ago.
Yeah, we'll make Jamal look that up
Yeah.
during the break, or Rick.
So
I want to make sure we get to this before we hit the break.
Yeah.
What's your reaction to the interaction between JG and Emari Demercado on the sidelines?
That was very civil response. That was
From Demercado?
No, from Demercado and from the press conference. I can honestly say, if I was put in that situation, I would not be nearly as convenial
As a player.
Yeah. And also, as it being my position group, I wouldn't do well with it. As an offensive lineman and a leader in my career, I would not be well with that. Like, there's a bigger issue that needs to be discussed.
You're talking about any type of contact.
Any type of contact with a coach and a player.
Have you been face-to-face with a coach?
I have. Ron Zook. I'll never forget 2003.
And that's okay.
And it's okay to be face-to-face.
Yes, it is.
Because there's no physical. Now, granted, he did step on my cleat.
Oh,
but
no.
At that point.
Zook, what are you doing?
I mean, listen, and it was the most arbitrary thing. We lost to Ole Miss. We lost to Eli Manning. And he blamed the loss on me because I gave the offensive line barbecue the night before.
Ooh.
I kid you not.
What kind of barbecue was it?
Oh, it was Memphis barbecue. Okay. I mean, we did the barbecue spaghetti, we did ribs, we did some brisket, and I had the guys come to my room to get the food.
Ron Zick
He was probably upset he didn't get a barbecue.
I think he probably was, but I put the trays outside of my room the night before, right? And so, housekeeping could come. Rob Glass, our strength coach at the time, sees it, tells Zook, we go out and play. We lost. You know what we lost by?
1-3.
We lost by a field goal, 14-17. But here's the caveat: Eli Manning only got across the 50 one time the entire day and kicked a field goal. That's all he was. We threw 2 pick sixes.
That's an Eli win right there.
Yeah, it is. It's a quintessential. And he blamed it on me because we didn't get back fast enough. I said, "How about your quarterback not throw interceptions? Right? How about he not throw the ball where guys aren't and let the other guys run straight down there?" Yeah,
it's a breakdown.
It was not a breakdown in protection, but that's the way he framed it. But
right.
he whisper cussed me out for like 10 minutes straight, but he never touched me, and I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that. But the second any type of aggressive movement or contact happens,
it can't happen.
It can't happen. It can't happen as especially for a no fighting policy type coach like Jonathan Gannon. You can't sit there and tell me in practice, scold me in practice, fine me in practice for an incident with high emotions and a high testosterone, physically combative sport that I can't do that, but then you do it to me on the sidelines at a game in a critical moment. Yes, I messed up, but guess what? And then you tell everybody it was no one moment that defined this game. There was a collection of moments. Well, you acted like it was one moment.
Yeah.
The second you decided to forcefully throw your shoulder through me and slap, I'm sorry, he would have had a black eye for that press conference. It would have been, some furniture would have moved on that sideline.
We need to revisit this a little bit too when we come back, just as far as like how they get out of this now going forward. We were getting into something there as we were going to break, and it's not like we have you all show. So let's just sort of continue down where we were going. You gave us what your reaction would have been if you were the player in that situation. I think the big question now for the Cardinals is how do you make sure, and this is on JG, it's probably on certain players in that room, but you're talking about a lot of guys. You're not talking about, this doesn't just potentially affect JG and Emari Demercado anymore. If you're not careful, this could cause a rift in your team. So what's the next step beyond just beating the Colts to make sure that, because there really hasn't been any issues with the Cardinals locker room since JG got here. So how do you make sure you keep it that way?
I think the biggest thing is it's player only time.
Oh man,
you're speaking Wolf's language now.
I'm just saying,
players only time.
I'm not a players only meeting guy.
I know.
I'm not that guy.
Yeah, I know, but there are moments where it is absolutely necessary.
I agree.
Because you have to get the temperature, you have to get the pulse, and if the pressure gets too high, you have a heart attack, right? And you don't want that to happen. You want to be able to stem this off and be able to move forward and move past this incident. So it has to be addressed.
I'm not saying, this is just me, I want to make sure you're saying the same thing. I'm not just talking about the incident. I'm also talking about being 2-3 and beating yourself in that game the way that you
being
did.
the first team ever to lose 3 straight games on the last second field goal.
Yeah, and I think that's where it is, because the previous record was the Denver Broncos doing the same thing to themselves, and then they had the Cincinnati game that stemmed that from stopping, because they had 2 games that lost a total of 4 points, right?
Yeah. So what would you? Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What would you do, Max, inside that meeting? What could you get out of a players-only meeting, which typically turns into bulls on parade? But
yeah, and the first thing is make sure it's not bulls on parade. This isn't an open. I'm trying to figure out what the most politically correct way to say this without getting the FCC involved.
Clean, right?
Open mic night
clean.
at the comedy club.
Yeah, it's not an open mic night. It's not everybody talk about everything because they have the microphone in front of them, right? This is your senior leadership, and usually those are position group leaders at every position group, should speak, should know, should have a working knowledge about the issues within each of their groups. That should be the first thing. You either let those guys speak, or you use an even more senior leader of each side of the ball to speak. That's it. So, and it shouldn't be more than 4 voices talking in this meeting. There should be the accusers and the accused, right, from the player's perspective about what they feel like is an issue and what has been noticed around everybody else, and set a group of standards that you would have in place. To give you a little insight, like I've only been a part of, I told you this, Wolf, 2 players-only meetings.
Yeah.
The first one, which I think is the one I want to focus on, we were on a 3-game losing streak, and we were not playing to the best of our potential as a team. We're a team that previous year we were 15-1, went to the AFC Championship game, lost that game. We get back, same unit of guys, and we added some good quality depth in the draft that was participating and helping out with this team.
Yeah.
And we had a good mix of veterans and young guys. And we talked Jerome Bettis into coming back for 1 more year. He wanted to retire, and literally had 6 guys had to go to his house and convince him to come back.
Wow.
We get to the season. We're not where we want to be. We're below 500, and we know we're a better team than that. But some guys are taking it easier. Some guys aren't studying. Some guys aren't showing up to the facility on time. Some guys aren't interacting the way that you expect them to be. Guys who are assumed leaders are not acting like leaders. And so one of our leaders decided to speak up and say something. Insert Joey Porter Sr.
Joey Porter.
Peasy.
Of course.
Peasy says, all right, this is a great meeting, Coach, the night before the Chicago game. All right, Coach, this is a great meeting. Now get out. It was not. It was impromptu. There was not a planned players-only meeting at this point.
That's what I was going to ask you next. Is how does this? Because football, you're talking about a bunch of guys. Like, how do you put this together? Do you care if the coaches know? But you're in this example you're giving, it was just Joey Porter saying, "Hey,
Joey
guess
said,
what?
nope, we need to have," because Joey knew the pulse of the team.
Yeah.
He was one of our leaders. He was one of our captains, and he interacted with all position groups. Like back then, we all used to hang out all together. So there was no offenses over here, quarterbacks and receivers are one group. O-line just sits by themselves in the sandbox. We all played in the same sandbox. So we knew each other. It was like a brotherhood. So when Joey says we call a meeting, we called the meeting. And coaches got kicked out. We sat in there. Joey spoke. He also knew that Jerome wanted to speak as a senior elder statesman of the offense and also a leader on that offensive team. He came back for something more than this, and we had that conversation, brother to brother, and they opened the forum, say, hey, if anybody else has anything else to say or bring to the stage that I haven't talked about, please bring some new insight about what's bothering you so that we can air it out, so that when we go out tomorrow, we are playing loose, free, and for each other.
Yes, and
that's it.
That's got to be the goal of all of this
as
well, that you can clear it.
Clear the air. Sweep everything from under that rug that you've been sweeping and take out the trash. Now we can start from a new point.
Tell the truth, man.
Yeah.
Clear the air and get it resolved, and let's go.
Yeah.
Here's our expectation as a leadership council. Here's our expectation for everyone else that didn't want to say anything or couldn't say anything.
Modus
Here's our
operandi
expectation for you.
How do we operate as a team?
Correct.
What is the expectation down to a man about what you're expected to do? Because it might be a little fuzzy, depending on the group you're in, you might not have the best examples in there, and some of you might just not know how to do it. I know for me, I had a guy by the name of Barrett Brooks that taught me how to do it. He showed me how to watch film, how to take notes, how to be a professional, and that aided me throughout my career. So then when it came my time to be the Barrett Brooks and a young guy come in, pull him in, show him the way, and for us, it was called the Steelers way. What is the Steelers way of doing things? So for the Cardinals, what is the Cardinals way? What are you going to establish, and what standard are you going to set for yourselves? But know that I'm not going to ask you to do anything more than what I do, but I'm also not going to expect anything less than what I do.
Yes.
And that's just how we operate. And that's the way you have to move. And that's where you see championship caliber teams consistently do that, to where when the young guys come in, they fall in line. You don't have to sit there and constantly figure it out. You have one band, one sound, all instruments go off the same sheet. We're not having 17 different sheets we're reading music from. It's
and
one
once
sheet.
Again, that is the resolution you've got to have.
That's the only thing.
You've got to be able to speak your mind, say what you need to do, clear the air, but it's got to be for a reason.
Yeah,
You're
it
doing
can't
it
be
for a
sport.
reason. Here's the expectation we have going forward.
Yeah, if it's the Cardinals right now, Max, who calls the meeting? Because I think everybody would think Buddha or James Conner, and obviously James Conner's hurt. Could it be anybody else? And also, is the ultimate goal of this to make sure what happened on Sunday against Tennessee doesn't snowball, or can you also clean up some of the other smaller things that have been issues this season? Or are we just right now just trying to make sure that Tennessee game doesn't destroy your season?
Yeah, I mean, Buddha Baker would probably be the first person I would think of, but I'm not opposed to a guy like Kelvin Beachum being also that guy.
Yeah.
14 years in this league, a lot of teams. He's got a lot of
Calais.
experience. Calais Campbell is another one. He has spilt many blood drops on this team, for this team. He's the only one there that's been to a Super Bowl. I've seen the Cardinals actually get to a Super Bowl. So if I'm thinking about that, I'm thinking about the elder statesman linemen of that group are the ones that need to call
Buddha
it.
too,
And then
once
Buddha
again.
needs to speak. Buddha
Yes.
needs to speak at that meeting. But I think it comes through as for who calls that meeting versus who speaks at that meeting are two different things. I think the elder statesmen have to call it, but you need Buddha to speak up because he is the face of your franchise, and he's been a leader. He's been very vocal and out front. He's the one that also knows the stuff that not a lot of people might not know.
Yeah.
Right? You know, he is, not to say he's the keeper of secrets, but he's the confidant for this team. So he has to speak the truth. And then if there's anything additional, yes, we open it up, make sure you get the last of things out. Don't be redundant. Don't beat on the same thing. Because once again, when you're saying things not to have a solution, it's called sport being. That's the best way of saying it.
Wow, look at that.
See, I look at that. I found the word. It took a
only
whole
you 10
segment.
minutes, yeah.
It only took me a whole segment. But yeah,
Thanks for letting us keep our license.
when you don't do that, that's what it becomes. It becomes a sports session.
Yeah.
And we're about solving solutions because we are in real-time practical application, and we're on a week-to-week basis of figuring out what the end result is. And that's winning football games in the NFL, and we got to figure out how to do that quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Max, going to stick around one more segment. That was great, Max. I think that's.
And I like the transfer portal being down to one.
Yeah.
Anyways, there we go.
We were gonna
Covered the
talk
segment. There it is. I can't even rip
That's
this.
so good.
That's right. We got it in. We paid off the tees.
Thanks for watching Wolf and Luke. Tap to see more and click the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.